The phone rings, and the D-Class personnel is ordered to answer it. The D-Class picks up the phone and held it to his ear. He then hears the voice of a panicking woman, causing him to look at the researcher. The researcher then tells him to keep holding the phone as he removes his gaze from the D-Class to prepare the audio recorder. When the researcher looks back, the D-Class is nowhere to be seen, only the phone that is on the floor where the D-Class was standing. Hi there, I'm Boy Keter, and you're about to know Euclid-class object SCP-145, also known as the Man-Absorbing Phone. SCP-145 appears to be a 2002 model cordless telephone handset of a certain brand on its standard charging base. The charging base has all of its jack inputs sealed with resin glue, while its power input has been gouged out. All labels and stickers of the phone have been ripped off, making the phone's serial number and production date unknown. SCP-145 rings constantly, whether it is on the base or not, regardless of the lack of power source. When answered, a female voice can be heard on the other side of the phone. The voice shows high levels of stress that varies from conversation to conversation, and proceeds to plead to the listener for assistance as she describes instances of torture happening on the background on unknown victims. Background sounds are heard to be sounds of violence and expressions of pain. The number of individuals' voices that have been analyzed on these calls are redacted, but numbers up to the 2 digits. Methods of torture implied here have been, thus far, branding, electrocution, lacerations, sexual assaults, dismemberment, and another one that had been data expunged. The female voice doesn't seem automated and is entirely sentient, but all attempts to trace the location of the voice have been unsuccessful. Attempts to block the signal of SCP-145 using a Faraday cage have also been unsuccessful. During these calls, the Foundation researchers decided to do a testing with SCP-145 with the use of D-Class personnel. The testing logs are as follows. A D-Class with a GPS tracker answered the phone with the researcher not looking. The D-Class is no longer seen in the room and the phone is on the floor with no visible damage. Methods of disappearance is unknown since visual recording shows the D-Class in one frame but in the next is absent. The phone falling to the floor when D-Class previously was standing. GPS of D-Class rendered non-functional afterwards. Next, a D-Class with a GPS tracker and combat knife. Again, after disappearing, GPS rendered non-functional, and the female voice keeps on saying that someone, individual's name is expunged, is being cut up. Next, D-Class with 9mm pistol and Kevlar vest. Sounds heard from SCP-145 are that of gunshots with the female voice stating something which has been redacted. Each gunshots are heard with exclamations of pain. In the last testing log, D-Class with the C4 concealed in his gear supply kit. C4's triggered notice activating its 30-second delay before D-Class enters the phone. Result for this test is mostly expunged, but it resulted in many Foundation researchers missing, including a classified doctor and researcher associated with the expunged data. Due to this, SCP-145 is to be stored in a plexiglass container unless being studied. It is also kept inside a soundproof room and no personnel shall interact with it unless it's a part of the testing.